On your feet. Get them going.
Good. Oh, I forgot to turn the green screen on. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. You are on Blacklist Universe. Please subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Hold on a second. Like, never prepared. I'm never actually prepared to do this show. I just pretend like I am, and I don't pretend very well. I don't know how I'm going to get that to light better. Anyways, topic of the day, was Jesus a communist? Larry Romano responds, no. No, Jesus was not a communist. All right, well, I guess we're done then. Hey, Ray Thulu, D Fresh, Sheila, Rena, Shelly. Sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Joe. Yes, he was. Next subject, please. Oh, now we've got a debate. Let's see. Kuzmeti, what's up? Ooh, I got my badge. Very nice. Andrew J. Joe. I guess is that it? Larry Romano. Dark Admiral Mod Hair. We've got a yes he was. We've got a no he wasn't. We've got a Dennis Peruch. We've got a S2H. What's up, everybody? Mike is eating again. No, I'm fine. How's everybody doing? I hope you are having a wonderful day. We will get into this. But if you see the ticker tape at the bottom of the screen, you will notice that I have made available for a limited time, a limited offer of 25% off on my my print store, which is mikesmillerart.com/. Gosh, I never promote my store. I don't know why. Share screen. Link is in the description. I just want to, guys, I have to make a living in order to do this show. So I don't ask you to, spend all your money on super chats or anything, but I do ask you that you buy my comics, buy my prints, buy my something, do something. So we've got dude, I haven't updated this since I launched it. I probably should. So you can go to catalog, you can sort by A through Z. You can find a gazillion things here, oldest and newest, best selling. Let's see what my best selling prints are. You've got Fault in Our Scars, Confiscated Alliance. Ooh, I should just take that off of there. Han and Chewie, Overwatch, Wonder Woman, Captain America Civil War, Game of Thrones stuff, Rocket and Groot, Deadpool Cable, Black Cat Portrait. There are like 200 different prints on this website. You can go shopping, grab yourself some stuff. I even have a couple of these in. Oh, do I not have it on here? Let me see. Let me look up Sirens. I kind of hope nobody orders these because they're. Oh, I took them down. Oh, no, I didn't. Here we go. Paper. 20 by 28, 80-pound poster. Dadgummit. Why do I only have that listed for $50? That's crazy. But these are giant, big old honking posters. Oh, that's going to be a pain in the butt. But if you want one of those, then you can get one of those. I also have the Sirens in that size. I believe I have the Heroines in that size. You just do the drop. Yep, I have the Heroines in that size. And I have the DC. Let's see. Marvel. Let's just type in Marvel. And I have this Marvel versus DC. Great big clashing thing. Also as a 20 by 28 poster print for $50. So everybody, if you want to get over there, 7 days only. Right there, the code is in the ticker tape down there. Just go to mikesmillerart.com, go to the store, use the coupon code 2547. It'll give you 25% off for the next week. And after that, you're back out of luck. Also, please do make sure to get over to Bless This Mess. Bless This Mess. As you can see, it's right behind me. Bless This Mess, the comic strip. We are at 88 backers, 40. Oh, I've got more since last time I checked. That's nice. I honestly don't know if this is going to fund, guys. We got 10 days to go. And we got over $5,000 to go. I don't know. It's going to be up to you guys. It's going to be up to the fans to obviously promote this, because I'm not going to throw my own money into this to do it, because that would be me buying for me, which is kind of I don't know what the word is. Is that I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try. But yeah, Bless This Mess available for the next 10 days. Then of course Lone Star. You guys were all watching Elliot do the cool new cover for Lone Star. That is still available. You just go to LoneStarComic.com. Bam. Right there. And we are still in business for I don't know. I only have 2 pages left to get colored, and then letters, and then we're off to the printer. For those who didn't see, gosh, I hate to touch this because, hey, where'd the bag go? Oh. I kind of hate touching this, but I hate touching it because it's from China, and now I'm all paranoid. I'm paranoid. So stupid. This could be a bag of Wuhan flu right here. I didn't quarantine it. What I should have done when I got this in this morning, I should have just took this whole bag. I should have just stuck it in the corner for like 3 days until the virus. Well, actually, it's been in transit for probably 3 days. So hopefully, if there's any flu on here, but I know we're not supposed to talk about First Brigade, but the First Brigade patches are here. And yeah, you had to be First Brigade to get one. So I hope you are. And I'm sorry if you're not, and I know it looks kind of weird with the green screen on, but sweet for those of you who are First Brigade. Booyah! Rock and roll. So moving along, we are moving right along. Footloose, and as far as I can tell, fancy free. I am and I want. Yeah, boy. Now I don't want to touch anything with my hands because I touched the China bag. What do I do? I'm so paranoid. I'm gonna go wash my hands.
So this is guy's name. Makes me so mad.
Yes, first try. No, they're No, I'm here.
I'm so legitimately not gonna touch that bag for the next 2 or 3 days. Mike, the SJW say it's racist to say China and virus in the same sentence. China virus, China virus, China virus. I'm so racist, but I'm Japanese. I'm supposed to be racist against the Chinese. That's how we do. That is how we do in the Orient. Yeah, I called it the Orient. You got a problem with that? Whitey? Wuhan virus. It's the woohoo flu. I'm always waiting for a disclaimer at the end of a streams. No children were harmed during the filming of this live stream, because I can always hear someone roughhousing or something. I know. I hope they never do it on screen. That's why there's no wrestling around in this room, because the boys used to have a YouTube channel. You got your channel back, didn't you? Yeah, they got their channel back, but they got struck because they were wrestling. Isaac and Micah were wrestling on a live stream. 2, tween kids wrestling on a live stream, and so they struck their channel for child violence or something like that. It's like, how much stupid can possibly exist in this world? Well, not nearly enough. As we go to Twitter, as we go back to Twitter, so this is what happened today. This is why the topic was Jesus a communist? Because I posted this lovely thing that I did on a while ago on Facebook, and it was on Facebook they're like, hey, you posted this 5 years ago. So, An Idiot's Guide to Basic Economic Systems. Socialism means government controls business. Crony capitalism means business controls government. Free market capitalism means the market controls business and the people control the government. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. And so, of course, I have this person here, Ian Crutchley, whose Twitter thing is Christian Geek Cat Owner. Well, I'm that. I'm a Christian geek. I'm a cat owner. Socialist campaigner. Lived in Manchester and now in Gosport. So Ian says, surely democracy means the common people are the government. And us, the people, control both the government and business in the interest of the common people. Democracy and free market capitalism are incompatible. To it, I respond, he chose poorly. I'm gonna just kind of read this through there, and then we can have a discussion about this. I chose, as any and every true Christian. Apparently, if you disagree with Ian, you're not a true Christian, who puts the love of the common people, especially those oppressed by the market, above the love of money, capital, and market forces. Love and Christ rule my life and should rule all government. To it, I respond, so you're pro-theocracy. Ian, do you pray for God's kingdom here on earth as in heaven? Is that theocracy? Do you believe that we are all one nation under God? Is that theocracy? God tells us to love our neighbors, being those most different from ourselves, like how much the Samaritans were. To it, I respond, you can't believe in pure democracy and theocracy at the same time. You understand what those words mean, right? Ian responds by ignoring my question. No, you can't believe in free market capitalism and patriotism and Christianity at the same time. You know, Ayn Rand and Jesus Christ are completely incompatible, right? You'll note I never brought up Ayn Rand at all. Free market unrefined unrefined beer geek says free market capitalism is nothing more than granting liberty to others. So what are the intersections of liberty and Christianity? They exist, but what are they? No answer. Let's see. I responded to this. Theocracy is a government being ruled under religious law, like Sharia, currently in the Middle East, like Europe under Catholic rule, etc. Democracy is mob rule, the majority telling the minority what they can and can't do. Those are not compatible. In response, so how is most of the free world outside the USA currently run? Jesus Christ and the Bible say, love your neighbors, those most different from you, as the Samaritans were from the Jews, as yourself. Being ruled by the common people is ruled by God. Capitalism is not. I feel like this guy completely missed out on a thing called history. What? Being ruled by the common people is being ruled by God. What on planet Earth? Oh, by the way, I also pointed out, also the Samaritans were the closest things to Jews in the world that weren't Jews. They were a crossbreed of Jews and Gentiles who still worshipped Yahweh, albeit they mixed other religions in from their Gentile mixing. That is why they were disdained by the Jews. He totally ignores that, by the way. No, you can't believe in free market capitalism and patriotism and Christianity at the same time. Hey, sha. So, where do we go from here, guys? He made no sense at all. Well, that's because he's been indoctrinated and brainwashed, and he chose poorly into this bizarre leftist ideology about. Okay, I'm gonna grant Ian that there are certain times in the Bible where Christ is talking. Well, not Christ. Christ isn't talking. It's Paul and Peter and those guys. After I think it's in Acts, when everyone who was in the church sold what they had to support the church, so that no one out inside the church was lacking anything, right? So that everybody, it was like, well, I'd say it was like socialism, but it was just within the church, and it was all completely voluntary, and it was theocratic. They were giving to the body of believers. Now, as a Christian, as a believer, I don't, all this stuff that I have in my house, I don't believe this is mine, right? I believe this is God's stuff. He gives it over to me as a steward to take care of it. He could take it all away at any time. I am to give back to the church specifically at least a tithe. The tithe should be just a start. The one who has 2 robes shall give the one out. Yeah. Mecca says, also, Ayn Rand had a complicated relations with libertarians. Not sure people should call her libertarian at all. No, my God doesn't want your Cintiq. No, but he owns it all. I own nothing. I am none of this is mine. I understand that God can take, God gives, God takes, God owns the universe. So what am I? I'm a steward. He entrusts me with certain things. He has entrusted me with 5 beautiful children to take care of his stuff and to take care of his people and to try to use what I am responsible for to the benefit of his kingdom and to help others. That's my job as a Christian. People who think that they own stuff, boy, challenge God with that, would you? But as far as this basic argument that democracy means the common people are the government. Okay, that's why there's no such thing as democracy. I mean, we're not a democracy. We are a representative republic, right? Jack Vanguard says it right here. The USA is a republic. Pure democracy is mob rule. It's the tyranny of the majority. And this person's concept that the people in general will always have the best in mind for everyone. I mean, this is how we get things like racism. Right? This is how we get things like slavery. Because if you've got the majority of people and they're taking the rights and the property and whatever away from the minority, that is the tyranny of the majority. That is neither right nor wrong. I mean, it could be right. What the majority wants to do could be right. What the majority wants to do could be wrong. If the majority is devout, Bible-believing Christians, and we live in a democracy, I don't know. I can't even go there, because then you're still taking away. God doesn't take away man's freedom to make bad decisions, right? He gives us that freedom. He allows us to suffer the consequences, for sure. And he will even chastise us through those consequences for making the wrong decisions. But he does not take away our free will. And that's what pure democracy does. If you are creating laws by the majority that is taking away the free will of the minority, that is not Christian. That is not Christ-like. That is not God-like at all. Democracy means direct rule. What we all have, well, not a lot, is a republic based on the Roman model, not the Greek one. We are a representative republic. Our rules come from God, filtered through man, right? We start with inalienable rights. We start there, and then we try to maintain those rights through the empowerment of a government that is embodied with the right to enforce rights. Now, does that mean this is going back to Jesus being, was Jesus a communist? A socialist, he's saying here, because he's obviously a socialist, something, or a socialist campaigner. But he does make a point that I've always made. Socialism is democratic. Socialism is, you have a republic if you can keep it. Yes, yes. Not many representative republics in the Bible. No. Nope. There are not. There is a dictatorship, and then there is a theocracy. So, but look what happened to the theocracy. The theocracy became corrupted. The Pharisees became, power corrupts, man. Power corrupts. I think we have found the best model in the history of the world, if we can keep it. If we can keep it, right? That was Benjamin Franklin, right? Edwin? Ben Franklin said that. You have a republic if you can keep it. Communism is the final stage of socialism. That's right. Well, communism and socialism both have the same end goal, which is egalitarianism. Socialists will use democracy and pure democracy, right? They want everyone to have a vote in order for the mob to rule, in order for the majority to take away the rights of the minority. In socialism, that means the majority who are not filthy rich would take away the rights and the properties from the minority who are the filthy rich. Now, I don't think God curses people with being filthy rich. Wealth is not a determining factor of morality. No, Mike, it's not two different things. Socialism is a stage of communism. No, it's not, Joe. Communism and socialism, there was no socialist stage of Cuba, right? The communists came in and took over Cuba in the name of communism. There was no a socialist and a communist have the same end goals. They have the same ideology. But one is willing to go through the system and get there through democracy. One is willing to pull out guns and take over by force. That's the difference between communism and socialism. Now, it is, possible that at some point, like happened in Europe in the early part of the last century, you had socialism and people who were socialists trying to do the democratic thing, who got sick and tired of waiting because there were enough people voting against socialism that they couldn't get their socialist agenda pushed far enough or fast enough. And so what they did was they elevated people to power who were very, let's say, totalitarian in mindset. Because if you're a socialist and you believe that this Hitler guy who's saying all of the socialist stuff will come into power and implement all that great socialist stuff that you've been trying to push through democratically, well, it's a shortcut, isn't it? It's a shortcut. If you read, what's his name? Friedrich Hayek. Hayek has a book called The Road to Serfdom, and it was written at that time period. So it was written literally before World War II. So he was watching as all of the socialists in Europe were elevating these totalitarian people into power, right? And read it, because it's like an on-the-ground reportage of the time period, how the totalitarians came into power. And so it was like, from our perspective, like past World War II, we're like, of course, totalitarianism is evil. Totalitarianism is wrong, blah, 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 blah. But that wasn't the attitude of the European socialist prior to World War II, when they were like, hey, let's put these totalitarians into power. You're confusing socialist with social democrats. No, I'm not, because there's no difference between a socialist and a social democrat. Calling a socialist a social democrat, I mean, using the word social democrat is soft shoeing socialism. You're freaking socialist. It's just soft showing it. It's changing the language. It's changing the names in order that we can convince enough young people that social democracy, which is what socialism is good, even though it's failed and it's killed 100 million people in the past century. Let's try it again. Let's give it another college try. And they're always college people. Oh my God, Mike, open a wiki, a book, something. What? What are you talking about, man? No, you're gonna get different opinions, Joe, just like you have different opinions. But I'm going with just sort of the pragmatic and how socialists, like true socialists who understand. I've read the Communist Manifesto. I've read Marx. I haven't read any Engels. But this is all how it works, man. This is just the pragmatic truth about socialism, communism, and democratic socialism, which is bullcrap in my eyes. But would Jesus have ever wanted us to give all the power, all of our money, not to the church, where godly men and women will use charity and love to use, to bless people who are in need and do all the things that the church should be doing? No, that's not what socialism is. Socialism is giving all of our money to Caesar, right? Instead of taxation, it's like, well, why don't you tax me at 100%? I'll give all my money to Caesar and pray that Caesar feeds me. That is socialism. And the answer to the question, was Jesus a socialist? No. Social Democrats is the same friggin' thing. Yeah. Oh man, that was funny. You ever see that Chris Matthews thing where he was asking, who was it? It was the head of the DNC. I think he's like, so what's the difference? I'm trying to figure it out nowadays. What is the difference between a socialist and a Democrat? And she's just like, well, he's like, no, really, what's the difference? She's like, and she couldn't answer because the modern Democratic Party, there's no difference. There's no difference.
Did you leave?
Mike, it's not a matter of opinion. You're confusing basic theoretic things here. Well, your theory and my theory disagree. So it is a matter of opinion, isn't it? Can we get the USSR out of the way? They are out of the way. They're gone. Capitalism ruined the USSR. And you know what got Russia out of debt for the first time since the Cold War? Was it more socialism? No. Vladimir Putin instituted a 13% flat tax. Vladimir Putin's tax system is more fair than the United States of America. He instituted a 13% flat tax across the board, got all the oligarchs to start actually paying their taxes instead of hiding their money, and got his country out of debt for the first time since the Cold War. I mean, I'm not a fan of Putin, but dadgummit, when something works, something works. That's how you do it. Roscoe says, care of each other as human beings is a personal mandate. Love your neighbor as yourself, not one given to any organization or institution, including government. Well, I can give to, like, if I'm giving, all right, so if I support a kid in Kenya, I can't fly to Kenya every month and give him, however much money to take care of himself. There are organizations that you can give to, charities who are going to far better spend your money in the care of other people than you can, or that you're even capable of. So, Mecca says, Blacklist Universe, most countries became communist in order to get some cash and support from USSR. Do you actually believe it was pure ideologies battle, just like in comic books and cartoons?
Has anyone crafted any Pokeballs yet?
I don't really. Do you actually believe it was pure ideologies battle, just like comic books? I don't really understand the question. Do you actually believe it was pure ideologies? Can you try rewording that, Mecca? Because I'm not quite grabbing what you're saying. Putin is an oligarch, but whatever. That doesn't change what I said at all. It's a historical fact. That's what Putin did and got Russia out of debt for the first time since the Cold War. He instituted a 13% flat tax. And I don't know any conservative, any libertarian. Well, libertarians don't want any taxes. I don't know anyone who's a free market capitalist who wouldn't say a 13% flat tax instead of this freaking mess that we have in this country. Let's do it. Would you not say it? Would you not agree, Joe? Who wouldn't agree to that? But I don't know how much power he had. Putin could probably just make that decision and not have to go through like the House and the Senate, because it's the Democrats in the House and the Senate who would never. That's the irony, right? The Democrats in the House and the Senate are more socialist than Vladimir Putin, who worked for KGB under USSR. It's ironic, I will say. Mecca says there were many reasons. One of them was wasting billions on countries like Romania. They still owe a lot to USSR. Now they are your problem. Romania is not our problem. Romania is V's problem. As Stolchenitsyn said, the effort was made to replace God with the hope humanity could replace him and progress to the ideal egalitarian state. But this was doomed to failure because of human nature. Yeah, things that work on paper. Not that I think socialism works on paper, but things that work on paper are often found wanting when you include the human element. The human element of corruption, of greed, of hubris, of lust for power. Yeah, that's why we need systems that keep all those things in check from our leaders, which is not socialism, by the way. Communism is as hard as following the word of Jesus. Both lead to a utopia, but human nature gets in the way. Well, following Jesus is a personal journey. Communism always leads to starvation and corruption because, exactly, human nature gets in the way. They are facilitating your personal mandate, but it's not the church's duty to do so, merely a good way to get it done. Too many people treat the church as God's ATM, only there to service them. I agree, Moscow. I agree. Kung says, private charities can provide actual compassion and discernment, two things the impersonal behemoth of government cannot, and thus is far more effective. Truth. What's up, P-Money? Made it to a live stream. Hashtag blame the gypsy. Yeah, replacing God with man always works out great. Yeah. And it's also hilarious that, I mean, this guy, does he not see that who's on his team? Who is always on the team of the socialist? It's the atheist. It's the people who want to get rid of God. And this is who he's teaming up with to claim that Christ is a socialist, is a communist. You're out of your bleeding mind, Ian. I've had this discussion with this Ian person before, and yeah, he's He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Larry Romano says socialism requires a consolidation of power, which makes it more susceptible to corruption and less capable of overcoming it. This is true. This is true. Oh, we are 35 minutes in. You guys want to get to some scripture? All right, let me share screen again. Once again, guys, I will just remind you before we do dive into the scripture that if you go over to Mike S. Miller Art, the link is in the description, MikeSMillerArt.myshopify.com. I have for the next week a 25% off deal. Discount code 2547. You can see it on the ticker tape below. 25% off for 7 days. Minimum order $40, so 2 prints. Get in there. You can, essentially buy 3, get 1 free. That's how 25% off works. But flip through. You can check out all the different prints I have. Anything I have out of stock, I can just go and get reprinted. So it's no big deal. Page 1 of 6. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can do that at your leisure. If you know of some art that I have done that you want a print of that I don't have up there already, just let me know and I can make it available. Thank you very much. Joe says, we are talking about theoretic values here because in practice you get USSR, China, the Crusades, Inquisition, pedophilia, and perversion among the priesthood.
It's just
Okay.
wandering around on my end.
I would love to see Bernie and Jesus on a debate stage. Well, you're not even gonna get Bernie on the debate stage because that dude's out. Out. All right. What am I looking for here? I am looking for official King James Bible. We are on Psalm chapter 45, I do believe. Psalm 45. Bing.
That Michael, let's go.
Yeah. Right. We did 44 yesterday, right? Let me go back previous chapter.
Yeah.
44. I don't know how redeem us from mercy's sake. Yeah. All right. Psalm 45, ladies and gentlemen. Psalm 45. Let's do this. Wait, Tuffler says, this conversation is causing real problems. People in rural areas no longer have serviceable roads, and folks are losing ambulance and other emergency services. Nobody wants to help pay for them. The problem is that the government is a mess, Toffler, and there's this thing called gas tax. That's supposed to pay for our roads, but the government steals that money. They're always stealing money out of one budget to spend money on another thing, and then they're like, oh, we don't have enough money for the thing that we've been taxing, so let's add more taxes to that so that we can steal from that to add to some other thing to blah blah blah. It's this constant shell game and corrupt. That's government, man. That's why you got to have personal. You want your roads fixed, you're gonna have to find some sort of way to do it privately. That's Joe's saying you're taking Christianity as it's intended and communism as implemented, comparing apples to oranges. No. Communism as intended is evil. It is based on greed and envy, and stealing the life's work and efforts of one person to give it to someone else. That's evil. That's evil. You can't build an ideology on greed and envy and say that, well, gosh, if they just implemented it right. No. Implementing communism correctly would be evil. So.
Really?
Tell that to the county commissioners. They're the ones that are cutting taxes then complaining about it. I don't know your particular situation, Toffler, but tell you what, the roads here in San Diego are a mess, and we have the highest freaking gas taxes in the country. So tell that to somebody. The bastards that are stealing all the money for something other than fixing the stinking roads here. All right. Psalm 45. Let's get into this. To the chief musician upon Shoshanim,
He's a boss.
for the sons of Korah,
Mine
Mashil,
just started.
a
Mine
song
just
of
started.
lows. Boys, silence or get out. My heart is
Really?
inditing a good manner. I speak of the things which have made,
Pretty good.
which I have made. All right, Isaac, get out. That's not silence.
I like whispering.
I said silence or get out. Those are your options. Silence or get out. Let me start again. My heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of the things which I have made touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer. Thou art fairer than the children of men. Grace is poured into thy lips. Therefore God has blessed thee forever. Gird thy sword upon thy thigh, O most mighty, with thy glory and thy majesty, and in thy majesty ride prosperously because of truth and meekness and righteousness, and thy right hand shall teach thee terrible things. I don't even know what that means. In thy majesty ride prosperously because truth and meekness and righteousness. Because of truth and meekness and righteousness. And thy right hand shall teach thee terrible things. Thine arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies, whereby the people fall under thee. Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. Thy scepter, the scepter of thy kingdom, is a right scepter. Thou lovest righteousness and hatest wickedness. Therefore God, thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. All thy garments smell of myrrh and aloes and cassia out of the ivory palaces, whereby they have made thee glad. King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did stand the queen in gold of Ophir. Hearken, O daughter, and consider, and incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. So shall the king greatly desire thy beauty, for he is thy Lord, and worship thou him. And the daughter of Tyre shall be there with a gift. Even the rich among the people shall entreat thy favor. So clearly this was written before Tyre was destroyed. The king's daughter is all... I mean, that's obvious. That was 300 BC. The king's daughter is all glorious within. Her clothing is of wrought gold. She shall be brought unto the king in raiment of needlework. The virgins, her companions that follow her, shall be brought unto thee. With gladness and rejoicing shall they be brought. They shall enter into the king's palace. Instead of thy fathers shall be thy children. Instead of thy fathers shall be thy children, whom thou mayest make princes in all the earth. I will make thy name to be remembered in all the generations. Therefore shall the people praise thee forever and ever. All right. I got nothing out of that. That was weird. It seems just so specific to the chief musician upon Shoshanim, for the sons of Korah, Mashil, a song of loves. My heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of the things which I have made touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer. Thou art fairer than the children of men. Grace is poured unto the... Oh, this is like a love song, a love letter. Therefore the God hath blessed thee forever and ever. Gird thy sword upon thy thigh, O most mighty, with the glory of thy majesty. And in thy majesty ride prosperously because of truth and meekness and righteousness. And thy right hand shall teach thee terrible things. Thine arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies, whereby the people fall under thee. Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a right scepter. Thou lovest righteousness, and hatest wickedness. Therefore God, thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. All thy garments smell of myrrh and aloes of cassia. This totally sounds like... You know what this sounds like? It almost sounds like wedding vows. That's weird. All right. Well, we've hit it. It's it took 45 chapters of Psalms for this not to apply to me directly on the day. And that, unless this is God telling me to write a love letter to my wife. I should. It's been a really long time. I should write her a love letter. That'd be nice. So maybe that is what the purpose of today's psalm is. Let's read through the second half again because I stopped. Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a right scepter. Thou lovest righteousness and hatest wickedness. Therefore God, thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. All thy garments smell of myrrh and aloes and cassia out of the ivory places whereby they have made thee glad. King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did stand the queen in gold of Ophir. Hearken, O daughter, and consider, and incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. So shall the king greatly desire thy beauty, for he is thy Lord, and worship thou him. Oh, I gotta tell that to my wife. Worship me. I am your Lord, worship me. And the daughter of Tyre shall be there with a gift. Even the rich among the people shall entreat thy favor. This totally sounds like a wedding. Yeah. The king's daughter is all glorious within. Her clothing is of wrought gold. She shall be brought unto the king in raiment of needlework. The virgins, her companions that follow her, shall be brought unto thee. This is absolutely about a wedding. I cannot get any way around that. All right. Is there something happening? Is somebody getting married that I should know about? Should I apply this to us being the bride? And how God loves us as a bride, as the church? I got nothing. Let me see. You guys got anything? Action Artist says, the church loves to pine over the Christian founders who wouldn't put up with 1/10 of what we put up with like juryless family courts, stealing kids, and then says fighting back would be violence. The church loves to pine over the Christian founders who wouldn't put up with 1/10 of what, yeah, and then says fighting back would be violence. Interesting. It sounds like you have a personal issue. Action Artist, let me know. Patrick Swayze says, dropping by to say, no, Jesus was not a commie. Whee! You're absolutely correct. Jesus was not a commie. That's a nonsensical mess of a ideology. Oops, I just clicked off of the thing. All right, here we go. Telfler says, these guys are tearing up perfectly good roads so they don't have to maintain them using similar arguments. Similar arguments to what? Similar to what, Tofler? I'm sure it varies from state to state. Yeah, corruption's a thing, though, right? I mean, robbing Peter to pay Paul, that's government corruption. Joe says, it's not evil if you want to share. That's the problem. Nobody actually wants to share anything. LOL. No, some people do. But usually those people are in the church. The thing is, we don't want to give money that we don't have to a corrupt, bureaucratic nightmare such as the government. I mean, I'll pay my taxes. I'll pay what I have to pay, what I'm mandated to pay to the government. And I feel better when I'm paying taxes when, you know, somebody like Donald Trump is in charge and he's doing things I think are more to my liking than otherwise. But oh my gosh, man, the corruption in it's better to know where your money is going than buying into the rest, right? Buying into believing that these people who seek positions of power, I mean, right out the gate, what kind of person does that? What kind of person does that? Seeks positions of power. It's going to be 9 out of 10. These are going to be corrupt people going in, aren't they? I mean, that's I don't know. I've never sought position of power, so I can't really say. We want to choose who give our tithe to. If the government takes control of all charities, then I won't be able to give to religious charities. P-Money says, I don't know if this has been mentioned before, but subscribe to Nerdette's newsstand tonight. She's going to check out Bless This Mess. Yes. Yes. Has she already announced that? But yeah, she's going to, I'm going to go look now. Oh, she's not on Twitter. That's right. That girl, YouTube. She is going to be launching the... How did you find that out? I don't see an announcement or anything. But no, she emailed me to tell me. But yeah, how did you find out? Darn it, when did my thing go? Oh, it's here. Wow, there's only 27 people watching. Nobody cares if Jesus is a commie? Oh, I forgot to like and share. Duh. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I do apologize. So she announced it on YouTube. Oh, in a different video? I was looking for that. Yeah, I can't wait to see. I'm looking forward to that. She's been so busy because of the coronavirus. She hasn't had time to do it prior to launching it today. So check the community tab on Nerdette's newsstand. Post to Facebook. All right. I can do that later. It's not important. But yeah, Nerdette's newsstand, guys. If you want to put the link in the description, please do, and let her know that we appreciate her. Joe K says the problem is that humanity has a long way to go since the next mental level. You can read Thucydides from 400 BC, and you understand every motive, every thought expressed as if it's today. Well, it's because man hasn't changed, and there's no next mental level. We are degrading. We are degrading as a population. I don't think we're getting smarter. I think we're getting more educated. But I don't think that means that we're getting smarter. And I know that sounds kind of contradictory, but there's such a thing as being educated beyond your intelligence. And I think that's where most socialists stand, is that they've been so thoroughly educated. It's just simply become indoctrination, so that they will believe theories that have no basis in reality, have been proven over and over and over again to be abject failures and evil, like the fruits of the devil. But they'll believe that it's possible that if just the right person is in control, then finally, somewhere, somehow, socialism, communism will work and it'll be better for everyone. But no, that's being educated beyond your intelligence, because you're seeing practical things, practical reality, and calling basic human interaction into question in favor of a theory that, again, has been proven numerous times over and over and over again for the past century. Actually, more than the past century. This goes all the way back to Jamestown. Jamestown was a socialist experiment without the word socialism, but in concept, it was. They starved to death. They abandoned that socialist utopia after 1 year because half of their population was dead. So this has never worked. This will never work. And the fact that we have people still trying to sell this to our children, and the fact that they're educating them beyond their intelligence. Go to Adam Smith. Adam Smith has a great way of starting this out. Capitalism is the natural course of exchange, right? So in the beginning, and this is all theoretical too, but this is just as a practical matter, of course. I mean, you could do it today. It's like, hey, if it's the world exists on basically a barter system, with a agreed to fiat currency as a form of exchange, right? My time is valued at a certain amount of dollars in this form of exchange. My plumber's time is valued at a certain dollar value as a form of exchange, but it is ultimately we are bartering with a mediary. The mediary is called the dollar, right? In the old days, it was like, hey, I'm really good at making arrows. This is Adam Smith. I'm really good at making arrows. I can make the best arrows that fly the farthest, the straightest, hit their target the most often. I'm better off sitting down and making arrows all day than I am going out there hunting food. So what I'll do is, Groot over there is a really, really good hunter. So, but he sucks at making arrows. Groot, I will trade you arrows if you bring me rabbits. You bring me deer, right? I will get more deer meat, more rabbit pelts, more leather and horn and everything, than I would if I was out there hunting and gathering for myself. This is commerce. This is the natural state of exchange of someone's time and efforts in exchange for someone else's time and efforts. And the value they agree to between them, maybe it's 20 arrows for a rabbit. Maybe it's 100 arrows for a rabbit. Maybe there's another hunter. It's Groot and Grot. And Grot says, well, I'll bring you 2 rabbits for 20 arrows. And then Groot's like, what? I'll bring you 3 rabbits for 20 arrows. Right? And then suddenly we have a thing called the law of supply and demand. But then it's not just Arrow Dude. It's another Arrow Dude who also makes excellent arrows, who can now undercut the price of him. And then you have this form of exchange. That is capitalism. That is the natural way we exist. Just because we have a dollar inserted into the proposition whereby we can have an equal understanding of exchange. Jesus was not anti-capitalist. And anyone who thinks he was, you're knuckleheads. Ray Thulu was Ray saying. Mike rails against socialism and communism, but why does the SS in his mess look so much like a hammer and sickle? It doesn't. It looks like a sickle and an arak. The second S does not look like a hammer at all. Right through. Hashtag ban the Fed. Oh, we got 1 minute left. 1 minute left. I better make one last capitalistic implore. I better implore one more time to my capitalistic need to get you guys to take advantage of my 7-day sale on my website, Mike S. Miller Art. Link is in the description. If you have noticed the ticker tape on the bottom, for the next 7 days, you can use the code word 2547 to get 25% off your order of whatever it is. Let's see, oldest to newest. Whatever it is you want to see. So I've got a whole slew of these beautiful 11x17 signed Calvin and Hobbes watercolor painting prints. These are very, very popular at conventions. So I got a mess of them. I got Winchester Brothers. If you're into if you're into Supernatural. I've got a bunch of Injustice stuff. I've got a bunch of Marvel stuff. Ignore the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. I don't think I have those anymore. And I don't want to bother reprinting them. I've got Venom. I've got Game of Thrones. Shoot, I don't have this one. I'd have to totally remake that. Darn it. I've got
Flights to Korea are
Star Wars.
really cheap right now.
What?
Flights to Korea.
Great. I've got a bunch of Deadpool stuff. I've got a bunch of beautiful women's. Batman.
Round trip, only $400.
Okay, I'm not going to Korea.
No, me and Plum.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I don't care if I get coronavirus.
I do.
Why?
And more and more and more and more. I got Jesus. If y'all want a Jesus portrait, get on over MikeSMillerArt.com. Minimum purchase $40, 25% off, 7 days only. Thank you, everybody, for being here. A Wild Eden did appear. It's true. The store looks great. Thank you very much, Sharon. You missed everything, Timothy. And it's over. It's over now. So thank you all for being here. We will see you on the next whatever. Oh, Drawn and Quartered tonight. We're doing Bloodshot. It might be Bloodshot versus someone like Wolverine or something. But be there, be square, be both.
Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!